Otherworldlyculture.com.
They're here.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
Otherworldlyculture.com presents Dead On Movie Reviews.
Salutations and mutilations, you're listening to Otherworldly Culture presents Dead On Movie Reviews. Tonight, we will present horror movie reviews and lively debate here on Otherworldlyculture.com and on future select Dead On Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern and 8 Central. You can join our live chat at that time by clicking on live shows link on the Otherworldlyculture.com website. I'm your host, Tim Kretschmann, coming to you from the land of lakes and landfills, beautiful Muskego, Wisconsin. Dead On Movie Reviews is now one of 3 rotating shows on Dead On Thursdays, alternating weeks. You'll see this program, our horror, this program, or Dead On the Bases, our horror sports mashup, or our newest offering, now streaming. Additionally, on Mondays, now on the first and third Mondays of the month, we will have Monday Moron, Marvelous Monday, Magnificent Monday with Miller and McIntyre, or McIntyre and Miller. I can't remember what it all is, but that'll be on Monday nights. Tonight, though, we have the Faculty of Fear panel presenting tonight's lectures. And we start with, I gotta find his theme here. There it is. Hailing from the Motor City, Detroit, Michael Cieslak is a lifetime reader and writer of horror, mystery, and speculative fiction. He has served as an officer in the Great Lakes Association of Horror Writers, editor of the Eerie Tales anthologies. He's the editor-in-chief of Dragon's Roost Press, and his works have appeared in a number of collections, including DOA, Extreme Horror, Dead Science, Vicious Verses, and Reanimated Rhymes, and the collaborative steampunk novel Army of Brass. He is a kilt enthusiast, and if you go to his website, thedragonsroost.biz, he is ready for your Christmas orders of wonderful books to read. He is Michael Cieslak.
Hello, hello. Welcome from snowy Michigan.
Whoop, whoop, Michael.
How is the snow over there right now? Is it still coming, or?
Well, we got a lot of it yesterday. I'm actually really glad that I partook in the Cyber Monday purchase of a snowblower this year. The new house has quite the driveway.
Yeah, they're wonderful. I would not give up mine for anything. Next, little Mikey Exler is back again today. He's the denizen of the dismal, the purveyor of the putrid. That exciting exclaimer of glorious gloom wrestling up from his stony tomb. He's the monster, the mad, the ghoul, the glad, and that sack of mumbling, moaning pus that barfs out baloney. He's the one and only Coach Michael Exler. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Tim. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you back. Always good. And I know you are loaded up and ready for tonight's show. I just heard briefly some commentary, so I know this is going to be a good one. Next, we have Tracy DeLeon. She's been in a number of films. She's a good friend of the show. Numerous appearances here, and it's a thrill to have her back on the program. She's the denizen diva of the disturbing, who frequently partakes in films quite unnerving. She always gives the straight dope and goes into every film with a glimmer of hope. She is afraid to go ankles deep into a flick and call out douchetards for being a prick. Now it's my pleasure to set our eyes all upon our final panelist tonight, Tracy DeLeon.
Hey, it's been so long since I've seen you.
It has been a while. I live in snowy Muskego, Wisconsin, but I was just last week in Florida and it was 70 and 80 degrees. It was
Nice.
so weird getting on a plane at 70 degrees and getting off the plane in 13. It was quite the shock.
Take me back.
I know, Mike, you're in cold weather area too, so you probably have done that where you get off the plane and it's, oh, yikes, what just happened to me? But we're going to talk about other scary things tonight, and we are going to start out with Michael Cieslak. Mike, what have you been watching?
I took a gander at Hell House LLC Lineage. This is actually a series that I quite like. I really like the first two films. This is the fifth in the series. You know how you have some movies that are part of a series where you can just go in and you don't need to have any backstory because they kind of pop it up right in the beginning and you can just jump right in?
Yeah.
This is not one of those movies. By no stretch of the imagination. And I, partway in, I was like, I stopped, I paused it and read the wiki because I'm like, it's been a while since I've seen these. I need to refresh my memory on what happened.
This is the fifth one already?
This is the fifth one.
Yikes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm way behind.
I was surprised when I looked that up too. I'm like, wow, is it really? I thought it was like 3. No, it's 5. The whole series started off with sort of a found. The movies have kind of a found footage in that they will have stuff from camera, like handheld cameras and things. Okay. But they've gotten less and less. They're kind of going away from that more and more. So this is pretty much just a cinematic experience like you would normally have, with the occasional bit of thing from a camera's eye point of view being held by someone there.
I just looked it up. The first movie came out in 2015. So
10 years, a whole decade of these.
Wow.
Good heaven.
What this one does is it is trying to tie together all of the kind of extended mythos that we've had spreading through this. Specifically, the Abaddon Hotel and the Carmichael Manor. Carmichael Manor was the fourth movie, the one previous to this, and the Abaddon Hotel is the location of the first couple movies. Okay. They start out with people recording them setting up a haunted attraction in what is supposed to be a haunted house. So this film, and you find out later that part of the reason that hotel is haunted is because of some stuff that happened with the Carmichael family. And this starts out, I'm checking my notes again, starts out at the Carmichael Manor in 1989 with a funeral. You right away find out that one of these guys just is not right. He's not having it. His sister wants him to say the prayer at the gravesite for the person who died, and he says, "There's no prayers. I'm not saying goodbye." Okay. And all are going to be punished. You're like, oh, okay, yeah. Pat ain't right. That's okay. We then skip forward to 1993 at the Rockland County Fair. And throughout the course of these movies, quite a bit happens at the Rockland County Fair. And you find out more and more in this one how that fairground experience ties in as well. And this is where you have the first bit of what these movies do so well. There is a scary clown listed as the Hell House LLC clown. played by Joe Bandelli. I'm assuming he's going to roll through on these pictures in a minute or two, but in the haunted house movies, this clown is a prop, and it's a creepy prop.
Okay.
And you're not sure if this
That's the clown.
is and you're not sure if it's come to life or if people are just hallucinating this or what's going on. Is something else, is someone, I don't want to give any of these away because, like I said, I really enjoyed the first couple of them. But what these movies do quite well is they will have a medium shot where you are focused on someone, or in a lot of cases, two people, and they're talking back and forth. But if you pay attention to what's happening in the corner, something weird is happening in the corner. Like maybe it's this clown and it's just slowly turning. And at first you're not even sure. That's how slowly it's moving. Like, did I see that move or did I not see that move? And some of the best things in this movie happen around the edges of your screen. If you were to have a letterbox edition, or like a pan and scan edition, that cut off the edges, the movie would make no damn sense at all.
You know what that sounds like? Mike Exler, do you remember our term for this back in the day?
Turanian?
Waldo vision.
Waldo vision.
Where's Waldo? What's going on?
Well, after our brief foray into 1993, we then cut to the present, and the main character that we're going to follow is Vanessa Shepard. She's one of the few people that survived the previous movie, and we're introduced to her in therapy, which I thought was kind of interesting. And she talks to her counselor a couple of times during this movie, like, I'm seeing weird shit. I'm just going to assume that it's not really there. My therapist is telling me that this is not really there. Okay. You have a lot of that where she's saying, it's not real. This isn't real. This isn't real. One character or another will say it's not real. This has a lot of, it's touching on not so much generational grief, but this sense of having to repay what happened that someone else did. You're paying for the sins of the father or the sibling or what have you. And she does actually have quite a bit of survivor's guilt. And that's one of the things that she is dealing not so well with in this movie. Not going to go into a whole lot of detail. It's still fairly new. One downside to this is we have a couple of scenes, and I thought too many scenes, where something's happening, and they're actually asleep. We're waking up and jolting awake. Like, oh God, I fucking hate that. Stop doing that. You get like one, maybe two a movie. This one has a couple more than it should have.
Unless the movie has Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, unless it has a reason for it being in a dream like that.
Yeah, it's just a cop-out.
There is another thing, and this is just like the horror brain that kicks in, but tying into that fairground experience, you have some baseballs that are painted red, the kind you'd like be throwing at the little punk bowling pin things to knock them down and win a prize. And these appear throughout. And there's just one scene where like the ball shows up and starts rolling. And I'm like, oh, Changeling. I know what's going to happen next. No, that's not the movie I'm watching. So that just kind of took me out of it for a minute.
Okay.
Towards the end, you're following Vanessa, who's doing one thing, and then you have another character, Alicia, who kind of browbeats this priest into coming with her to exorcise the Carmichael Manor, which is super haunted, and that's where it really picks up, and it is super creepy, and the scenes in the Carmichael Manor are worth the price of admission as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, okay.
There's another part where some people are on a Zoom call, and it was so good. It was so creepy the way it was done. Okay, it's a little bit of a spoiler, but not plot-centric spoiler. One of the people who was a victim in one of the previous movies is on a Zoom call with Alicia while she's there with the priest. She's obviously not talking to her in real life, but the conversation is something along the lines of, "Oh yes, it's nice to finally meet you. I can't wait to see you, and then you can kill me." I'm like, "Oh man, it was just so creepy." I really, really loved that. It's listed as being 91 minutes long. It's actually an hour and 48, and I think it would have hit better if it was 91 minutes instead of an hour and 48. You could have trimmed off a minute here and a minute there, knocked off about 10 to 12 minutes of this. I think it would have been a tighter film. Okay. But other than that, we can flip over to grading now if you're ready.
Oh.
Grading.
I am going to give this one a solid B. It had areas that it did really well. It had some parts where it bogged down a little bit. Little bit of room for improvement, but overall, worth a watch since it's free on Shudder right now.
Okay, now
all the films were released through what is the Terror Films, the one that's owned by Shudder.
Okay, now there's been a lot of these films already. Where is this on the list? Is this one of the better ones?
This one's right in the middle.
Okay.
This one's right in the middle. There are a couple that were kind of and like the first ones I think were the first one and the second one. I'm trying to make sure I may be misremembering which one's which, but those were the ones that were like the best. But it's not one of the series where it's gotten steadily bad. It's like it's good, not quite as good, back up again.
Okay.
So this is on the back up again part of the charts.
Oh, that's good. I really need to start watching these movies. The guys at Slaughter You, another podcast coming out of Wisconsin, they recently, I had listened to their review of the original film, and I thought it sounded very interesting. And I've missed all these because so many sound the same to me.
Yeah.
With Haunted House, Hell House. House of October built or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So I'll have to give it a try.
That was one of the things I thought that was kind of interesting, since you were talking about going back to the beginning of them again, was like when I first started watching it, I thought, I should have watched these up leading up to this just to kind of refresh my memory. Mm-hmm. But by the time this was done, I was like, I may just revisit a couple of them just because I want to now. Okay. So it did kind of leave me wanting to revisit the series some.
All right. Well, fantastic. It is time now for us to ask Tracy, what have you been watching, Tracy?
Hey guys, I have been watching the movie Coming Home in the Dark, which was released in 2021, and it's available on Amazon Video. It was directed by James Ashcroft. He also co-wrote it along with Eli Kent, and it's about a family of 4, a father, a mother, and 2 sons. And they are just going in the middle of nowhere in New Zealand. I'm sure it's like a hike or a family outing or whatnot, but it's totally isolated. And I guess it's a good place for a picnic because that's what they do as well. And during the picnic, a really greasy dude named Mandrake, which that name reminds me of, the mandrakes in Harry Potter. Oh. But Mandrake comes along, all greasy and gooey. And that's when things start taking a little bit of a turn. At first, you can kind of tell that they're a little iffy. But as the film starts to get going during that first conversation and then meeting the family of 4, It starts to turn pretty dark, and right away, it's kind of gives you a shock for what happens to the sons, because you literally weren't expecting that. And they find out the father's a teacher at a place where I guess these children grew up in homes, which are now men, but when they were children, they grew up in the home that the father, was a teacher at.
Okay.
It gets confusing. Okay.
All right.
So they kill the sons. I'm just going to ruin it, but they kill the sons. And from there on, it's like you're kind of understanding what's happening. They need a car because they're in the middle of nowhere. And then all of a sudden it kind of switches to, wait, is this revenge from when he was a teacher at the school? You kind of start to get a little confused as to why it's actually happening, because when Mandrake first walks up, you think, all right, these guys did some shady shit out here and, they need a getaway vehicle. But then it kind of ties back into him being a teacher at this foster home. So that part gets confusing throughout the film because you're not sure what exactly is the reason this is happening. Does that make sense?
It sounds confusing.
Well, when you go through it, you might understand. But anyway, they still have the father and the mother, and they continue down the road, and they find out more about, what the father did at the school. He didn't save children from it. He didn't participate in any beatings or any, bad behavior towards the children. He just didn't stop it. So they kind of do things to him because of that. The mom tries to escape several times, but they catch up. And in the end, she just ends up, spoiler, she just kills herself after the second time she ran. It was just, she'd had enough. And then in the end, again, this is where it gets confusing. They take him to the old school and, things start happening there between the three of them, which I forgot to mention. He has a sidekick. His name is Tubbs, who's mute. He does not speak. And the father, throughout the time after Jill killed herself, he's trying to tell Tubbs, you're still on a leash. On a leash from Mandrake. Mandrake still has you on a leash. So another spoiler, in the end, Tubb actually saves the father and kills Mandrake.
Okay.
Does that make any sense? Because I was confused for a while.
Yeah, it sounds like a classic, though, of somebody being in service to somebody else and then turning on his, quote, master.
Sometimes it works in the film. It just leans into, brutality. Like I was not expecting the shots on the sons, right? So that's pretty brutal, but it just, you couldn't understand why they came on this guy. Did they follow the family there because they knew he was a teacher? You kind of get lost and you're wondering, why is this happening? And they don't really explain to you how Mandrake and Tubbs pulled up to the family. You just see them walking. So you're thinking throughout the film, is this because of him being the teacher at the school they were at? Or is it because they literally were in, a bind because they already did something shady and needed to get out of there? You never know throughout the film.
Okay.
Maybe that's a better explanation. I don't know.
So this movie, it doesn't sound like there's anything supernatural, right?
No, nothing supernatural.
Okay. So this is almost like a crime movie, it sounds like, Like a
yeah, they said it was like a psychological thriller, but
okay.
I did not think it needed to be in that category, to be quite honest. I was not. It was more confusing than anything.
Okay.
I mean, is it a revenge? I don't know.
So the motive sounds murky. It sounds murky.
The beginning is good. And there are moments where it is entertaining to watch, but other than that, the majority of the time I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I don't understand. Okay, so is this about him being a teacher? How did they end up finding him? It was just more thinking than I wanted to think.
So you were saying you were in the dark while you were watching Coming Home and
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you very much.
No
Michael.
problem. No problem. That's what I'm
you
here
know,
for.
sometimes being confused in a movie kind of works in its favor.
Yeah.
But then you got to have a strong closing where you go, oh, now I get it.
Yeah, it's not clear.
This need a payoff.
Not work. It doesn't work. But it's like throughout the entire movie, it's like that. I mean, it goes deeper, not much. You just get a little flashback of, the bad guys at school, but you don't get any. It's just confusing. But I did love the cinematography. They got some excellent shots. Whoever did that is great. And I'll say the director is great too. But I was
just one puzzle piece was missing, so it felt incomplete, right? Like when you get a puzzle from the library and there's 2 missing pieces, you just go, oh.
The worst is getting all the way to the end and only having 1 left, and you're where the hell?
Yeah, and then you think it's you, but then you remember you got it from the library, and they probably lost it years ago.
Yeah, like that, Tim.
Not that ever happens with me.
But I mean, I wouldn't go out of your way or pay to watch it.
It sounds like you're getting into grading. So
yeah, grading.
Sounded pretty grating.
Yeah,
up.
Nice.
All right, so the cinematography bumped it up a little for me, so I'm going to be nice and give it a B-.
That's actually pretty good score.
Yeah, that was higher than
what
I thought.
you were saying. I was expecting much lower.
Well, the cinematography really bumped it up for me because he did a great job.
Okay.
They're lucky they got that.
Yeah. I admit there are times I watch a movie and if I like the score, it goes up quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm a score and sound effects guy. But I'll tell you my favorite example of that is
Jaws.
No. Though without that score, Jaws is not the same movie.
No, it's not.
But the movie Krampus that was set in a snowstorm, if you have not listened to that in 5.1 surround sound, you have not fully experienced that movie. The blizzard sound effects are unbelievable. They are so good. You can watch that in the summer and get chilly. The way they did that. I'm just always... I love the sound effects in that movie. I got problems with a lot of the other parts of the movie, but the sound effects are off the chain. They should have got an Oscar.
Sound and sight. Those are the 2 best things.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
I've always been an audiophile, I think. Okay. Well, thanks, Tracy.
You're welcome, Tim.
It's time to go to Mike, who is loading his shotgun. What have you been watching, Mike?
I decided to watch The Conjuring Last Rites, the 25 film. We see Vera and Patrick return as the Warrens once again ad nauseum. This film clocks in. I don't usually mention how long a film is, but this film clocks in at 2 hours and 15 minutes.
What?
And that's my 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Wait, are you sure this wasn't a biblical epic from the 1950s?
It felt like it at times. It just, we've talked about it a lot on the show. It's hard to keep that tension and everything built up.
Right.
Over that period of time. So what did they do? To me, it felt like, okay, we have to tie in our child to the last pace that they work. And they essentially, did you ever think you would care about the Warrens' daughter? Well, you were going to hear everything about this child that you didn't want to hear, that you didn't care to hear about. I didn't even know they had a daughter, nor did I care they had a daughter. It's like an after-school special for the first hour of the goddamn movie. And it's like, okay, we get it. We understand. Like, I would have been happy with like a screen crawl of this happened at the beginning and this is what's going to, like I just did not need her whole entire story. So that's how the movie started off. I want to backtrack a little bit on the entire Conjuring series, which has made $1 bajillion. I don't know the figures, but it's been very successful.
I believe you actually, Mike, you nailed it. It is $1 bajillion. I just looked it up.
I thought it was near that. So, they obviously picked well because people went with it, but choosing the Warrens just literally makes absolutely no sense at all to me. I don't know how many others out there listening are fans of the paranormal and such. I happen to be one, and all you have to do is type in the Warrens into Google, and you'll see kind of where I'm going.
Take us there, Mike.
There's a lot.
Go for it.
There's a lot of things with the Warrens, from faking evidence, which would be most notably at Amityville Horror House. I even read while looking up on this that they were even accused of abuse.
Wow.
That was one of the things, if I remember correctly, that was written into the contract, was that they would not mention the fact that Ed allegedly had a long-standing affair going on while he was with Lorraine.
Yes.
Wow.
That was another thing. So there's many more things about the Warrens that make them confusing, to say the least. I was in the pre-show. There's a old paranormal researcher. He's passed. His name is Hans Holzer. You can look him up. He recorded all of his notes, and then he has books as well. But he essentially was almost like a cleaner for the Warrens. He would go in after they went into a location and completely screwed everything up. He would come in and fix it the best he could. And again, that's well documented. You can go out and take a look at it. So again, I just don't know why the Warrens were used. There are plenty of other paranormal investigators that have investigated the same places and not fabricated evidence.
But Mike, Warrens were willing to take a paycheck.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they're controversial. People talk about them because of Amityville. And they were obviously willing to take a paycheck, where I'm not sure all those guys would say, yeah, you can do whatever the hell you want with our names.
And they were all over the place too. I mean, they were on daytime TV, and they were in the National Enquirer type rags. Every single one of their cases was made into, had a book written. Yeah. Which I'll come back to at the end.
I remember them on the Merv Griffin show.
Yeah.
I remember them on there with the people from Amityville, whatever their names were. So I think that's the reason, Mike, is they just wanted somebody that were kind of fast and loose with the truth. Because I don't think I don't think the movies are 100% on the true facts of the case, or what is purported to be the true facts of the case either. Even from their point of view.
I always found it funny from even the first Conjuring film. They couldn't get actors that looked even remotely like them.
Oh, they did not want anyone looking like them.
I mean, for obvious reasons, I know, but I mean, they could have tried a little bit. And the reason I mentioned that I want to work into a little bit is, um, Ed had a bad heart because he ate, drank, and smoked excessively, and so that was catching up to him at this point. This was in 1986, and the film would have you believe he was going to die any second. And in reality, he lived another 20 years.
Whoops.
Yeah, so keep that in mind. And then also, it's really hard. Patrick Wilson is a very good actor.
Oh yeah,
But it's real hard to believe that this man is dying or really sick from a heart condition caused by eating badly.
He is way too healthy looking, and I think part of that was as the movie series progressed, he becomes the Superman hero that's jumping in and saving everyone,
right?
As opposed to the guy that came by, after everything happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in a movie, you need your protagonist to actually move around once in a while.
Or you could have a different protagonist. That's where I'm going with that. I don't want to take anything away from Mr. Exler. Go.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the whole premise of this film is this is the case that ended the Warrens. They were going to stop investigating after this because it just got touched too close to home, and they really beat that against your head the entire film. And in typical Conjuring fashion, and I'm going back to the first one. The first one, the Conjuring house, it's supposed to be this horrendous demon. We've all seen the Conjuring. I'm not going to ruin this, right?
Right.
Okay. So you build up that this demon is real bad, real horrible, bad, possesses the lady. She's down in the basement, and within 3.5 seconds, the Warrens have that demon out of her and out of the place, and it's all good and gravy. I understand there's time constraints. You can't show the entire exorcism and things like that, but put in a little effort to try to, use
Show
writing.
I'm
not a writer or a cinematographer, but there's got to be a way that you can show, like Tim said, a passage of time that this just didn't happen in 3 seconds, and take your whole story arc of how awful this demon is and shove it right down the toilet.
Well,
it happened with this one. This one was supposed to be the one that almost killed him, almost killed the baby. Lorraine's almost always dead because they go after her all the time, or whatever the fuck she says happens to her. And you get this demon in a corner that's supposed to be super powerful. They go into great lengths in this film to show you that this demon is no joke and is very powerful. And again, 3.5 seconds, over, done.
Well, you know
the most anticlimactic endings in the entire horror genre, in my honest opinion. I just don't understand why you build, and then take the way out of the way that they chose to do it. Just quick,
it's almost
easy.
As if they went, holy shit, this movie's already 2 hours long. We better wrap this crap up so we can have the wedding scene.
Right? Yeah, we need the wedding scene in there because, we couldn't just imply that she's married now.
Well, no, because we had to have the worst kind of wedding ever where your parents dictate who's going to be in the audience so we can bring back the actors from the other movies.
Oh,
sorry.
Man, that was...
Spoiler.
Yeah, that was
horrendous. God, I hated this movie.
And again, just adding minutes upon minutes of nonsense to an already nonsense film.
I feel you.
I mean, you could shave off half of the time. Get rid of the whole daughter shit.
Yeah.
Do that in another way. There's got to be a better way to do that.
You mean you didn't want to see the dress fitting?
No.
Come on, man.
No.
You've got no heart, man.
I could give 2 shits about this girl. I really could. Like, you literally could have just told me an overflow of what, or overview of what happened, some sort of writing style or whatever, much like the ending. But no, you just went and being it an after school special. God, it was so boring, and it just. By the time it ended, I knew how it was going to end. I knew they were just going to vanquish this demon with the snap of a finger, and that was it. So, and I believe this is the last Conjuring? No, I do not believe this.
Not
is the
after
last
what it made. It made so much money.
Not after what it made, and not after what it implied. So they could just go off the rails at this point, and now the daughter's a ghost hunter or whatever, because they implied that she has the same powers as Lorraine ad nauseum throughout the film in each stage of this child's life.
And she's got a big, strong man with her, just like Ed.
Well, they
carrying on the tradition. Then the daughter.
So
they might be asking for too much money. So
Ugh.
they need to give themselves a back door there.
Yeah, so I mean, they can continue with the daughter. Who cares? I'm done with this nonsense. I read an astronomical number that the Warrens have made off of what they've done over the years, and it's disgusting. Someone can make money off of being what they were, and I just think that this glorifies them when it shouldn't.
If I can put what Mike is saying in perspective, I was kind of internet correspondence friends with Ray Garton, rest in peace, who wrote the book A Dark Place, which tells the story that A Haunting in Connecticut was based on. And if you look up Ray Garton interview, I think the website is Damned Connecticut. He says he takes the job to write this, goes to Connecticut. He spends time with the Warrens. He spends time with the Snedekers, who were the family. And this is what they have on the website. When I found the Snedekers couldn't keep their individual stories straight, I went to Ed Warren and explained the problem. This is Ray quoting Ed Warren right now. They're crazy, he said. All the people who come to us are crazy. That's why they come to us. Just use what you can and make up the rest. You write scary books, right? Well, make it up and make it scary. That's why we hired you.
Yeah, that sums it up.
But you can't argue with how much money these guys have made in all
Isn't
these
it close
books
to
and
billions?
movies. What?
Isn't it close to the billions?
Yes, it's over $1 billion.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah, you could
and
be
I just
Lucasfilm. Maybe give Disney a run for their money.
I just don't see what the appeal is of these films. They're not well structured. They're not even really that well acted if you want to break it down, because they're not well fucking written. So these two can only do with what they are given.
I think they're still running off the steam of the first movie. The first movie was really good.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what this is.
Yeah. I kind of disagree about the first film. I think it's okay.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's it's better than all the rest of them.
Oh, for 100%, I agree with that. It's just the ending takes me out of that film. It's like you build me up. It's like The Legend of Hell House. Did anybody see that on Netflix?
Yep.
The series?
Yeah, they spent the entire series saying that this is the scariest place on earth, that you don't want to go here, and it's hell on earth, and blah 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 blah, and then at the end it becomes a place. It's like Ghost Disneyland.
Yeah,
and I was like, you just went against the whole tone of the film.
Yeah,
with your ending. Why did you do that? I just want films to be scary again, and this one, there were so few scary parts. It was insane. I don't. If it didn't have a demon in it, you couldn't even call this a horror film.
This is a few judicious edits away from being a Hallmark Christmas movie.
It really is. I'll totally sign on to that.
Like, Judy's getting married, but there's a bad thing happening.
Wait, was there anybody in like a flannel shirt? And was there a city slicker that was trying to sneak her away? Because that
No
you
city
need
slicker.
that for the Hallmark movie. All right. Well, it sounds like Mike. Are you ready to give this one a grade?
I'm ready.
Mike's ready to
Now,
wash
by
his
the
hands of
way,
this. Just look at him.
it's not for sure that they are going to make a sequel anymore, because if this Netflix Warner Brothers deal goes through,
Yeah.
they might decide they're not making movies anymore.
Yeah.
So, all right, what are you grading this thing?
This is easy. I'm giving this an F.
Wow.
F for fuck this movie and save yourself 2 hours and 15 minutes of your time and do anything else. Anything. Stare at a wall.
Effing don't do it. That's yeah.
I'm sorry, Exler. I'm really sorry.
I knew
It's okay.
it. I was like, he's getting himself for the F. You guys asked for the F minus. I finally got you to stop doing that, but
That's only reserved for the special.
for what was it? Cannibal clowns on
Clowns on dope.
Killer clowns on dope. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess it's my turn now. Thank you. That was a interesting review. I'm probably still going to end up watching this damn thing.
That's the
part that pisses me
horrible
off.
thing about this is I did the same thing. Like
But you
I
gotta finish
don't
it.
want to watch this. Well, at least I can fold laundry while I'm watching this
Yeah.
and getting
Maybe
more and
if you
more
temper
angry.
your expectations to like you're watching sewage breakdown, it'll be okay. It'll be decent.
I love it.
So
Oh shit! I'm crying.
You know, but you said you want movies to be scary again. I'll point to, I actually really enjoyed Final Destination, the latest one.
it was
thought
good.
it had
No,
great
it was really good.
suspense.
And I'm not even talking about dark horror that I liked him. I just want like atmospheric horror films. Like when I pop it in, I know it's a horror movie. And
Right.
we don't get that a lot anymore.
Well, speaking of atmosphere, that's what I'm going to be talking about in my film, because I watched the new version of Nosferatu. Now,
Oh, really?
I'll tell you, this is interesting for me because I don't know if you guys knew this, but in college I actually did a research paper on vampire movies and vampire.
How would we know that?
I don't know. I bring stuff up sometimes. And a movie that had not yet been made when I wrote that paper was Bram Stoker's Dracula. And
Ooh, good one.
This movie, more than any I've seen in a long time in the vampire genre, reminded me of that because it was very artsy. This was very much about atmosphere and just dread being built into it. The entire movie could have been shot in black and white. It's a very gray film. However, the pacing is glacial. I could not believe how long this movie just kept going and going and going. And the whole thing with Nosferatu, for those that don't know how we ended up with these Nosferatu films, is early on when they made this, the people that wanted to make the original Nosferatu wanted to make Dracula, but couldn't get the rights. So they said, no problem. We'll we'll change the names of all the characters, make Dracula into Count Orlok, and instead of going to Transylvania, we'll go to the Balkans. This movie, they go to Transylvania. So I'm like, wait a minute. If we're going to call this Nosferatu, could you at least do the thing that they do? And, you know, the whole thing with the Nosferatu is instead of having the romantic aspects of having a handsome man like Bela Lugosi or Frank Langella play the part, or Christopher Lee. You just have a complete, utter freaking monster playing the vampire. And, you know, in fact, if you look at the original film, it is deeply disturbing. The visions of that character. I can understand why that movie was a sensation when it came out. In this movie, they have Nicholas Hoult, who to me is becoming a little bit like Ethan Hawke. When he gets into a horror movie, it's usually a little bit better. He's pretty good at picking some stuff. You get Willem Dafoe, who ironically played Max Schreck in, what was that called? Interview with the Vampire? Or what was that one called?
I think it was just Nosferatu, something.
No, it wasn't Nosferatu. It was something else.
Something of the Vampire.
Yeah, like Shadow of the Vampire, wasn't it?
Yeah, Shadow of the Vampire.
Yeah. So that was kind of interesting. And I will tell you, Willem Dafoe comes into the movie. By that time, it has been such a slumber walk. By the time he shows up, and he's playing the Van Helsing type character, you're like, oh, there's a little life in this movie. Okay, we're not all going to just slowly be falling asleep, which this film kind of felt like. It's a very dirty, grimy movie, but it's kind of accurate to the period. They show stuff like, you know, rats running around in the streets. Now, of course, they're making it, well, Count Orlok comes and all the rats come with him. But, you know, at that time in history, rats were just going to be part of city living. And it still is to a certain extent, but, you know, just openly out there. The first third of the movie has almost no dialogue. To the point, that's where you kind of start going, oh, it's very dreamlike and sleep-like. But what you don't realize is once they start talking, which is about a third of the movie in, it's a nonstop gab fest. It's just, oh, this is what Count Orlok does. And it's like, gee, compress this movie. It's over 2 hours, just like the one you were just discussing, Mike. You can't keep a feeling of dread for 2 hours. What it becomes, you're dread tiresome. That's what happened. At some point, it's just like, ugh. And you're just like, I'm done with this movie. It's just continuing to go on. I can't take anymore. It feels like it's stalled out. Like if you're taking an old car up a steep hill and it just kind of dies. But then it doesn't roll back down the hill and do anything dramatic. It would just die and just stay there up on the hill. That's how this movie felt to me. It was like it's building up to something that didn't really kind of do the thing that it needed to do. The problem, I think, too, is because it's a very stylized, artistic type of film, you're going to naturally compare it to Bram Stoker's Dracula from Francis Ford Coppola. It does not win that battle. It doesn't win that battle. It does have some nightmare fuel visuals. It does have, I mean, Nicholas Holt's British accent is a lot better than Keanu Reeves.
Your mouth.
But, and again, why does he have a British accent? I get so mad about this all the time. At least in Dracula, they go to Britain. So it makes sense for people to have British accents. In this one, they go to Germany and people have British accents. And I'm like, no German accents? We can't do that? It's just like, whenever you're not in America, we show that by doing a British accent. It just irritates me. It also doesn't compare well to the silent film, to be honest.
Not at all. The silent film's amazing.
Yeah, you just gotta sit there and you go. And there were some things that they did with like shadows, where the shadow of his hand would go over what is her name? Lily Rose Depp. Johnny Depp's daughter is the main character in this. They have the shadow going over her heart, and then he grabs it with the shadow. That's a pretty cool visual. I'll say that. But it seemed like, oh God, did we have to put another 30 minutes into the movie so you could include that garbage? Now Skarsgård, the same guy that played it, he does Nosferatu in this movie. He was creepy, but if you've seen him without makeup, he's creepy looking. That's his face. There's nothing that can be done there.
How does the least talented Skarsgård keep getting work?
I don't know.
Because he's willing to play characters that shouldn't be remade. Like, I don't know,
Thank you, like
Nosferatu or Pennywise or The Crow. Jesus
That was terrible.
Christ.
I did like Barbarian. I did like Barbarian, but I think anybody could have played the part. But he did this weird voice when he was playing Nosferatu. That was, I almost had to turn on the subtitles because I could barely make out what the hell he was trying to do. It kind of sounded like when you tell a 5-year-old, hey, do a monster voice. It kind of sounded like that. That's what it kind of sounded like. The real blight on this film, though, was the pacing. The acting, for the most part, is serviceable. In fact, this Lily Rose Depp, she does actually a pretty good job of somebody that's haunted. You just have to watch it too much because this movie, everything goes too slow. The score was decent. It was a good cinematic type score. The set design was great. You really felt like you were back in the olden days. The costumes were good. They didn't do a lot of CGI, so that all looked, good. The cinematography was good, but not as good as the cinematography in the trailer, which I thought was kind of interesting. Here's where I'm going to go with this. This movie, a lot of people are going to want to compare it to Bram Stoker's Dracula. That's not a good comparison. You should be comparing it to Last Voyage of the Demeter. It's bad. It takes too long. It isn't scary enough. It's really a lost opportunity. And it makes me sad. And the thing that irritates me about it is there's certain things that if you're going to make, like Bram Stoker's Dracula, there are things in Bram Stoker's Dracula that you wish would have been cut because the novel isn't as good as some of the movies that were made off of it. Here, you're taking an abbreviated thing already, a silent film that was nice and abbreviated, and they expanded it through the roof. No, keep it short, keep it simple, move through it, and show the scary stuff. And really, the ending of this movie, which I'm not going to spoil, even though it's, a 100-year-old movie that it's based on. But the ending is a super creepy idea. It's super creepy. And it didn't feel as creepy as it should have.
And I have a theory as to why.
Okay.
And it's the beginning of the movie.
Okay.
Which is not in the original Nosferatu.
Right.
Where they have this whole additional scene where, is it Ellen Hutter? Ellen Hutter, the Lily Rose Depp character.
Okay.
is responsible for calling Nosferatu. And that's not really giving anything away because it's in the first 10, 15 minutes of the movie.
Right.
So what happens at the end, since you're not going to spoil it, I won't spoil it, even though, like you said, over 100-year-old movie, loses all of its emotional impact. Because in the original, that's a sucker punch what happens there.
Yeah.
But now it's just, it's the equivalent of I knocked over the milk, so I have to clean it up. I have to fix my mistake, which is not the premise of this movie.
Well,
but
what it
shouldn't
does,
be wasn't the premise of the original movie.
Yeah, what it does is it kind of takes some of the guilt off of your villain.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
exactly.
It's not all his fault. Well, it
does kind of neuter Nosferatu.
Yeah, it should be all his fault. He's the bad guy.
He's a monster.
Right. So, I really can't recommend this movie, despite it's gorgeous to look at. It's got a lot of things that it's like you put all the pieces together and you like a lot of the pieces, but it just didn't come together because it just took way too long, and that's why it's getting a C- for me. Which is probably better than I would have given Eggers the Vavitch, which I really despised.
That guy, I don't know who keeps giving this guy fucking money, man.
Because, okay, here are the movies that I wrote down that he has done. The Vavitch, The Lighthouse, which I have not seen The Lighthouse, but I don't want to either.
It's long and boring.
Well, I watched, the other one they made was The Northman. Have any of you watched that? That was his non-horror. Holy crap, was that terrible.
Fucking terrible.
I disliked...
They haven't invented a word for how bad it is.
I disliked the Vavitch so much that I haven't seen any of his movies until I had a chance to see this one, but I got to see it at the theater for free. So
yeah,
that was why I went.
You still overpaid.
I will say, if there is an art house movie theater in your area that does a showing of the original, it is amazing to see on the big screen. There is a theater
with an audience
there, but there's a theater called the Redford Theater that's further away from me now than it used to be, but it's a grand 20s movie palace with the organ that actually comes up next to the stage.
Nice.
And so they will do it with organ accompaniment, and it's amazing to see a silent film that way. So if you have a chance to do that, I would highly recommend it. And not this version.
This movie is not worth seeing. Not worth seeing. All right. Well, we've come to that part of the show. Let's see if things are going to work. We want to remind everybody to subscribe to our programs. We work very hard on these, and sometimes we get up to 3 people that watch them. So I really want to thank them for that. I'll tell you real quick that there is... Oh, that's supposed to go like that. There we go. Horror Realm is coming up sooner than you think.
It's only 2 months away.
I gotta do some hotel reservations.
Yeah, you do.
This is moving very quickly. We want to remind everybody to check out the film room. If you have a film to send in, you're actually a little bit late already. Get those films into us at hrfilmpgh@gmail.com. A lot of great guests coming this year, including the great Greg Nicotero. We have Derek Mears is coming. One I'm looking forward to seeing, William Catt. It's been a long time since I've seen him. He's He's always a lot of fun. Andrew Divoff is coming out. And you all know I'm excited about Jeff Kramer coming out from Jaws. I am going to make an ass of myself, I'm certain, with that. Also, we have Alan Howarth is coming, and it happened again. It's supposed to have Eduardo Sanchez showing up at the same time from Blair Witch Project. Why does that never show up right?
It's the Blair Witch.
Yeah, and this one doesn't come up right either. But we got Tiffany Shepis is coming back. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, we have Carolyn Williams and Bill Moseley coming. Silent Night, Deadly Night, we have Tua DeSantis and Tara Buckman will be here. And
Get your garbage can signed.
how many of those do you think people are going to bring? I bet you more than we expect. You never know who the guest is going to be that you're like, wow, a lot more people are interested in him than I thought. And I think he's going to be it. That's my odds-on guess. But we will see. Lots of great guests at this year's Horror Realm. Also coming up, we want to remind everybody that every Thursday we have Dead on Thursdays. Except, of course, this month, because we have Christmas and New Year's coming up right after this. So we're going to have a little bit of a break, and then we'll be coming back. I believe it's January 18th. Is our first show in the new year. So keep an eye on the website. We got lots of Christmas content I'm putting out there, all sorts of stuff. And then we'll be back with Dead on Thursdays with lots of great stuff. We also want to remind everybody to subscribe to our shows. Use any of the main podcast services and you will find us. And while you're looking for us, do your Christmas shopping early this year by going to the Dragon's Roost.biz. What have you got going on over there, Mike?
We are just looking forward to next year at this point, starting to make up our schedule for appearances. But as you mentioned, books make our presence. And hey, they're big rectangles. They're really easy to wrap.
They are. You know, I always get a book for Jeff, because we exchange gifts right here in Muskego, and I don't think he can read. So it's very entertaining. So also, we want to remind people to check out Tracy DeLeon. A thing that you can do to help support her is hit her IMDb page a couple times a day, like I have programs doing, and keep bringing that score up. Tracy, you got anything coming up that you want to pitch or tell us about?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Not right now, Tim.
All right. And coming up on Mondays, we have, Monday Mayhem. That's the name of the show with McIntyre and Miller. And that's a half-hour show. And lots of fun. Check that out. And it's coming every first and third.
Monday. McIntyre, Miller, Monday.
And that's coming again very soon. Well, we want to thank everybody. Great reviews today. Unfortunately, we didn't have a whole lot of movies that we can really get behind on tonight's show, but it is a good time to check out what's out there on Tubi and Shudder, and while everybody else is watching Holiday Inn and Danny K tap dancing, you can be watching somebody tap dance on Graves. That's what the season is all about. Please remember to rate us, like us, and follow us on any of the podcast applications. Of course, YouTube is where we put these out live, so we appreciate the follow there most of all. Let's see. We want to remind everybody to have a fun and safe holiday season. We'll see you in 2026. And the way we like to close these out, When you aim at horror, make sure you are dead on. See you next time. Otherworldlyculture.com.